Hello and welcome back to the Striha Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Parker Striha, and on today's episode, I'm going to be highlighting potential trade packages for Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. I'm by no means a professional, but I do love talking about sports, so thank you for joining me. So let's just waste no time. I'm just going to talk about why would the Ravens trade Lamar Jackson? I don't think they want to. I think the city loves him. I think the organization loves him. But I don't think their roster is good enough to compete, and I don't think they are willing to pay Lamar the money that he thinks he's owed and that I also think he's owed. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and there's not really any other quarterback in the league that can run the ball like he can. He can completely change an offense in ways that no one else really can. I mean, I don't think the Ravens, like I said, I don't think the Ravens want to trade him, but once again, if he's not going to play there, if they don't pay him, then he's kind of forcing their hand and they will have to. And I mean, when it comes to that, if you're getting an offer from a team for him that you just can't pass up, you can't pass it up. You have to take that offer, especially if the guy is potentially just not going to play on the franchise tag, which I believe they have starting yesterday or the day before. The team has like a week or two to place that on him. And they can place it on him, but if he doesn't sign it, he's not going to play, and then it's just going to be a whole fiasco. So I do think he will end up being traded regardless of how the Ravens actually feel about it. But there is one potential problem I see with them wanting to trade him is the quarterback market this offseason is crazy. You got free agent quarterbacks like Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And then there are other quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, and even potentially Trey Lance that are in talks to be traded to another team. Now, I don't really see Trey Lance or Justin Fields being traded, but Aaron Rodgers is a pretty big name on the quarterback market this year. And I believe at the time of recording this, he should be coming out of his darkness retreat, I think it's called, and will kind of let everyone know what his plans are for the future. So he could very well be traded by the time this video actually comes out. I don't think it'll happen that fast, but it could be a potential block for a trade like this, because it's also going to change the value. Like, if this quarterback is getting traded for this much or this guy is getting this much money, then it's really going to change what teams are willing to give up or want to give up for Lamar and how much they want to actually pay him. But with that being said, I do have a couple mock trades in here, just a couple teams that I think are interested, and then I just kind of threw together some trade packages. I'm sure these trade packages are going to be not anywhere close to what he would actually get traded for, but I just thought they kind of made sense in my head, and then I'll just kind of go through why I think this specific team would trade for him. But team one is the Atlanta Falcons. The trade package would be a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 8 overall, a 2023 third-round pick, which is number 75 overall, and then another 2024 first and third-round pick. Now, the Falcons, their team isn't exactly great, but when you look at the NFC South, I think that division is as wide open as any other, is by far the most wide open division in the entire league. This is kind of an anybody can win it sort of thing. I don't think any team in that division really stands out as the head and shoulders. This is their division now, especially with the Buccaneers losing Tom Brady to retirement. The Falcons, yeah, they're giving up 2 first-round picks, which kind of sucks, but I also believe that this offseason they have an insane amount of money that they can spend on players, and that's not even including the money that they can get by cutting or trading certain players on their roster. But if they can get a guy like Lamar Jackson, that's going to make them an even bigger free agent market because players are going to want to come play with him. And I think getting a guy like Lamar Jackson instantly puts you up on another echelon in your division. It just makes you that much better, and it kind of gives you a head start on making that your division for the future. Team 2, I have the Detroit Lions. The trade package is a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 6 overall, a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 18 overall, a 2024 second-round pick, and quarterback Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff is just kind of to make the money work, and because I don't know if the Ravens really would want to go with Tyler Huntley as their starting quarterback next season. So we're going to guy like Jared Goff. He can help utilize those receivers and that tight end, Mark Andrews. And he's not a franchise guy, I don't think, but he can help you stay relevant in a division that outside of the Bengals, I think is pretty wide open. But the Lions, I think next season, I think they are probably going to be the team that wins the NFC North, and I think they are very close to competing. That roster is very good, and they have a lot of money that they can spend this offseason. And I think players are seeing that this team is no joke. Not a joke anymore. They used to be a joke. But I think a guy like Lamar Jackson could go to Detroit, and he sees that the NFC North is wide open. He can go there knowing that this could be his division for the next however many years, unless Jordan Love is the next coming of Joe Montana and Tom Brady and just the greatest quarterback of all time, and the Packers come back on the map, but which could easily happen. It could realistically happen, but I don't see it happening. But Detroit, they need a franchise guy, and I think Lamar Jackson could be that guy if they are willing to give up the assets. Obviously, they're giving up both of their first-round picks this year, but I believe they have every other one of their picks unless they trade it in other transactions this offseason. But I think the Lions are a very realistic spot for him if he decides to force his way out of Baltimore. Team 3, I have the Carolina Panthers. The trade package is a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 9 overall, a 2023 second-round pick, which is number 61 overall, a 2024 first-round pick, a 2024 third-round pick, and cornerback C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson is just kind of a throw-in there. I don't know if the Carolina Panthers really want him, and the Baltimore Ravens need cornerback help. Henderson's young. I don't know if he's great, but he can be an improvement over whatever they have behind Marlon Humphrey. I mean, like with the Falcons, this division is really wide open, and I think if the Panthers if they don't like anyone in this draft, any quarterbacks in this draft, send the assets, get Lamar Jackson. Because like with the Falcons, the division is wide open, but I truly believe that the Panthers are probably one of the top 2 or even the most talented team in that entire division, depending on how you look at that Bucs team. But they just got a new coach in Frank Reich, and I think he and Lamar Jackson could work really well together, and they could wreak havoc over the NFC South and the entire NFC. But it just comes down to, are they willing to depart with these picks, and are they willing to pay him the money that he wants? And I do think that the Panthers are willing to do that because I do think that they want to get back to being a relevant franchise. And Team 4, I have the New York Giants. The trade package is a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 25 overall, a 2023 second-round pick, which is number 57 overall, and a 2024 first and third-round pick, along with Leonard Williams. Like with C.J. Henderson, I'm just kind of throwing Leonard Williams in there, frees up money for the Giants, and it just provides another solid defensive lineman for the Ravens. But the Giants, they made the playoffs this year. No one saw that happening. The roster isn't great by any means, but if you can re-sign a guy like Saquon Barkley, who I don't know if there's really been a lot of talks about that happening. I've heard he's going to be hitting the open market because they don't really want to place the franchise tag on him. Bring back Saquon Barkley, get Lamar Jackson. You have your franchise quarterback. You don't have to pay Daniel Jones because he's not really a great quarterback despite him having a decent season this year. And I don't think the Giants can win the NFC East unless the Eagles and Cowboys fall off a cliff or just something drastic happens to both of those organizations, especially the Eagles, because I think they are probably the best roster in the league right now. But the Giants need something. They need a spark at quarterback, and I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy. You don't really have a lot to lose here. You just made the playoffs with Daniel Jones. So if you can improve that quarterback position and potentially bring in some solid receivers and just some solid help to a pretty talent-barren roster this offseason, I think Lamar Jackson could make it work there. And I think you could be not necessarily a contender, but you can be better than you've been for the last however many years. But who do I think is the most likely to get him? I honestly think it's the Detroit Lions. I think if Lamar had to choose between these 4 teams or any team, I think the Lions are probably going to be very high on that list, solely for the fact that they look poised to compete for the future. That roster is really good. It's really young. And I don't think they really have a lot of their big guys under contract right now. So he could potentially come in and help that team win a Super Bowl, while guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, these young offensive players are still on their rookie contracts, and while they're cheap, and if he looks at every division across the league, and especially in the NFC, because I don't think the Ravens are going to trade him to an AFC team, the NFC North is wide open, just like the NFC South. But if you have to look at those two, the Lions are more talented than the Panthers and the Falcons, so I think that's kind of what it's going to come down to. They have better weapons. I think their coach is better. And he just has a better shot at making the playoffs, I think, with that Lions team. Green Bay, I think, is still going to be competitive. Chicago, not going to be competitive. Minnesota, I don't really know what to say about them next season. But yeah, I think Detroit's going to be the most likely option for him. I think he's potentially going to want to go there. And I think Detroit's going to have no problem giving up those picks to get him, because they have more picks and they have money to help build that roster. But as always, I'm your host, Parker Striha, and this has been the Striha Sports Podcast. Our random sport fact of the day is that in 2019, Lamar Jackson became the youngest player to win the MVP award at only 23 years old. As always, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever a new video gets posted.